The major news in the financial and industrial sector yesterday was obvious, of course, the major gaffe by US President Donald Trump. Now, in response to China's response to new tariffs that were being placed on Chinese goods, Trump announced another $550 billion of tariffs being placed on Chinese goods above what is already set. And those expected to receive them, a 10% tariff on September 1st, are now going to be 15%. On top of that, Trump floated the idea of banning U.S. companies from operating in China. This managed to tank the stock market 700 points. And this comes, only a few days after he already made it tank a couple hundred. There, of course, was a period of recovery, but then he went and made things worse. This has sent a lot of people into a panic. What I think is significant here is that if Trump says something like, ban American companies from operating in China, it's believable that he would do something like that. It's believable that he would actually go that far and do something that devastating to the economy. If Obama had said that, there would be nervousness, but nobody would really believe that he would do it. But with Trump, you never know because he makes such irrational actions. So think about what he's done to the market in just the last week. With just the power of saying something. He doesn't even have to sign anything into order. He just has to say he's going to do something. And it wreaks this kind of devastation. My point here is to point out the incompetence of the man. People voted for him under the belief that he would put them back to work, that he would make the economy stronger, and yet from a simple tweet, he can cause, and does cause, tremendous amounts of devastation. Those who voted for him, those who believed him when he said that he would make things better, they would at least have to be scratching their heads right now. I'm sure some of them might even make the argument, hey, that's bad for Wall Street, but that's not bad for me. I gotta tell you something. The health of Wall Street is directly connected to the health of Main Street. Main Street can be found floating face down in a river and Wall Street will be fine. But Wall Street, if they even catch a cold, Main Street gets the flu. Or pardon me, if Wall Street sneezes, Main Street gets the flu. Now, it's one thing to celebrate this kind of damage to the stock market if you're an accelerationist, who are probably many accelerationists are probably walking around very happy right now with what's going on. But if you are a believer in capitalism, for whatever reason, you would have to be really shaking your head at this. Because these actions they're the actions of someone who's either a madman or someone who's too stupid to be in the position that they're in. This reminds me of one of the debates that I used to get in with my mother. She used to make this say, all it takes is for one lunatic to get in power, and they could launch the nukes and destroy everything. Well, this was a concern that she was expressing over evangelical Christians. She was afraid that someone with a significant evangelical belief could get into office and cause this kind of devastation. And I said, they always say that. And they always say that about, third world countries too. Oh, Saddam, he's crazy. He's going to launch a war against the U.S. I mean, that was a nonsense. There's always this portrayal of the other being crazy and insane. Thus, once you believe that, you can thus believe any kind of nonsensical thing you say about them. Oh, that Kim family, oh, they're crazy. So then you can just make up all kinds of crazy things about them, and they thus then become believable because the idea has already been placed in your head that they're insane. And my response to that was, none of these people are crazy. Nobody in power in any country is crazy. They got to that. An insane person cannot get into that kind of position because they cannot hold themselves together in order to be able to carry out the necessary long-term strategic planning that would take to obtain that kind of power. Hey, a sociopath or a psychopath could get in there, definitely. But someone who's legitimately insane, completely detached from reality, does not get into these positions. Thus, we don't really have that fear. There was not a nuclear war during the Cold War because of the rational-headedness of everybody understanding that everybody will lose if there's a nuclear war. But what if it's just economy? What if it's not nuclear war? What if it's just the economy in general? And somebody who is completely not insane, but incompetent getting into that position? That's a real possibility. Well, it's kind of happening right now. I think that's rather my point. Well, Trump can say, oh, yeah, well, we'd win the Afghan war, we'd kill like 10 million people, but we could win. I mean, rationally, you're not going to do that. And even saying that is just kind of stupid. But it is a possibility that he could do something so economically moronic that he could collapse the system. And I mean, we saw George Bush. George Bush had no idea what he was doing as president. But not only was he a puppet, he knew he was a puppet. He knew Karl Rove, Dick Cheney, and very probably his dad came and told him what to do. Do this policy, do this policy. And they probably even came to him. Hey, do you want to be president? Just run. We'll tell you what to do. You don't have to worry about making the decisions. We'll do that. All you got to do is be a basic figurehead, and everything will be cool. And I'm sure that's probably what happened. But Trump's in office. Not only is he thoroughly and completely incompetent at his job, he doesn't even know it. And there may be a sociopathic level of detachment that he may not even care. And I think that's probably the main difference between Bush, someone like Bush, and Donald Trump. If we've seen anything, it's the difference between Donald Trump and literally everybody else. But here's one of the thoughts that crossed my mind. This move was so incredibly moronic that this may be enough for the capitalist class, the economic elite, to say, that's it, we have to get rid of this guy. It's time for him to go. He's a danger, he's unstable, he doesn't know what he's doing, he's incompetent at his job, and he's going to ruin everything. I'm sure they backed him all day in order to get their tax cuts, to get environmental regulations destroyed and red tape cut. But he's not helping them anymore. He's basically given them what they've wanted. Now he's being destructive to that very same people that were backing him up on all these things. I would not be surprised if the financial and industrial elite right now are looking at their contacts in the Republican Party and saying, it's time for him to go. Because we have to keep in mind that the capitalist class, although being monstrously evil, are not stupid. They can sometimes be quite delusional, but not stupid. It's one thing to deny the existence of global warming and threaten to drive the entire country off of a cliff because they genuinely don't believe it can happen. There's another, it's another, to just sit there and sabotage themselves. I think this could be that turning point. when the financial and industrial aristocracy finally say enough is enough and tell the Republican Party it's time to get rid of him. Get him out, replace him with Mike Pence, replace him with literally anyone at this point. And let's get things back to normal, allow trade to continue. Because the capitalist class doesn't want to end trade with China. They need trade with China to exist. And that's something Trump doesn't seem to understand. Which is weird because all of the crap he sells, his own merchandise, is made in China. What's going to happen then? Like, everybody has to stop except for him? I wouldn't put it past him. But look at all of his stuff about, oh, nothing should be made in China, we should do it here, and then he does his own stuff. Or people shouldn't be allowed to have migrants come in and work whatever job, and yet there's migrants, people working illegally inside of his friggin' Mar-a-Lago golf club. That's what I'm going to keep an eye out for. The rumblings among the elite that say Trump finally has to go, because that is what could be before us right now. Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.